Should I just drop my prediction right now?
Absolutely, because it's the same one that I think we all have.
Dan Quinn.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a guy who was connected to George Payton. Was that 2 years ago? When the article came out that the two...
No, 7 years ago.
Oh, okay, 7 years
It was when
ago.
Dan Quinn got hired by the Falcons in that cycle. And actually, the Broncos did have some contact with Quinn when they were going through their process, even though it was pretty obvious they were going to get Garrett Kubiak.
Right.
So that wasn't going to happen, but it was a matter of Peyton pulling his name out of searches. I believe it was the Bears and the Jets that were looking at George Payton.
Right.
And the two of them, they go back to their time in Miami in the mid-2000s. According to the reports, they thought about partnering together.
Right.
As a coach-GM tandem.
Sort of
That
like
didn't work
Kyle
out.
Shanahan, John Lynch situation.
Very much so.
Exactly, and I completely agree with you, Ryan. And actually, yesterday, I wasn't afraid to throw it out before the show ended, and I didn't even know that we were supposed to hold it back. I thought Dan Quinn was the winner, and I completely agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to George Payton yesterday, boy, it seemed like without saying his name, he was welcoming Dan Quinn to the Denver Broncos. Everything he said, and of course, the most important thing, well, actually, there were a lot of important things. Leadership is the number one thing he's looking for. And what's everything we've heard about Dan Quinn? Even when he was fired, everything he's done has been as a very good leader. Now, obviously, the defense wasn't there in Atlanta at times. Sometimes it was there. The offense was there sometimes it wasn't. But he was always a very good leader, that CEO type. So that right there, boom, shot him to the top of my list. And then on top of that, you have Vic come out or George come out and say that it doesn't matter if he's offensive or defensive side of the ball. It's about putting a plan in place. And then when asked about the offense, he said, yeah, he's going to have a good plan in place with an offensive coordinator, what he wants to do. And as we've talked about, Dan Quinn's had success hiring offensive coordinators in the past. Everything lined up for Dan Quinn to be the Broncos'
And I think
next
that was a
head
key
coach.
thing you said about success hiring offensive coordinators, because Kyle Shanahan was a hit, but Steve Sarkisian actually did a good job.
They made the
there.
playoffs.
Right. So
Roll Tide.
the coach doesn't have to be an offensive coach, but George Payton does want a coach who has an offensive vision.
Here's what I will say, though.
What type of offense and what type of coaches he wants on that side.
Right.
My issue with this is what happened with Kyle Shanahan, though, because you nailed it. 10 out of 10 offensive coordinator hire, save for the second half of the Super Bowl. And congratulations. Like, you did exactly what the dream is, right? You're a defensive coach. You nail the offensive coordinator hire. You have an innovative, exciting offense. And then it's gone. And while, yes, you did make the playoffs the very next season with Sark, you didn't after that. And that ended up being your downfall. And the offense deteriorated over time. Now, that also could have just gone right along with Matt Ryan deteriorating.
They still had the top 5 offense in 2019, though.
That's impressive.
That was it. Like, here are the Falcons' offensive rankings under Dan Quinn. Total offense: 7th, 2nd,
Wow.
8th, 6th, 5th, and 18th.
Okay, so 18th,
18th, he got fired
right.
third of the way through the season.
No,
Raheem Morris finished it off.
That's really impressive. And good Lord, what we would give to see a top 10 offense around here. Now, again, he's not an offensive mind, so it's not like you're getting his offense.
Right.
But you are getting his willingness to be forward thinking on the offensive side of the ball. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about Brian Flores later. But that's one thing that I really appreciate about him is that while he's a defensive coach and he calls his defense a very exciting way, he also was, welcoming of an exciting RPO style offense on the offensive side of the ball, which had its ups and downs, I think mostly because of the personnel. But what a great feather in the cap of Dan Quinn as a defensive coach with a top 10 offense for all of his seasons except one in Atlanta. Now, again, it's Matt Ryan, but it's Matt Ryan. It's not like you had Pat Mahomes and it's like, well, yeah, you just send him out there and you got a top 10 offense.
Yeah, exactly. And the connection that George Payton has with Dan Quinn, everything is pointing for him to be the top guy. So, Mace, is he your top guy when you view it through the Broncos lens as well?
Yeah, through the Broncos lens. I think the interesting question is going to be just how much he runs the defense, because he would hand the play calling responsibilities off